In a snow-drifted corner of Riverbrook, two officers thought they were roughing up just another homeless black man. They laughed, mocked, and manhandled him in front of silent diners, never realizing the man they humiliated once led missions in Kandahar. Eli Turner was no nameless drifter. He was a decorated soldier with friends in places far beyond their reach. And when a waitress hit record on her phone, a quiet act of courage lit a fuse. What began as a public humiliation would unravel a corrupt machine, ignite a national outcry, and remind a broken system that warriors don't forget how to fight. Snow blanketed the streets of Riverbrook in silence, a deceptive calm cloaking a town about to be cracked open. The red rail diner glowed like a beacon through the falling flurries, warm light flickering against frost-lined windows. Inside, coffee steamed, conversations hummed, and plates clinked, until the door opened and silence took its place. Eli Turner stepped inside with snow on his shoulders and war in his bones. His military jacket hung heavy with years, the fabric faded but proud, a stitched U.S. flag clinging to one shoulder. His boots, cracked and worn, tracked slush across the pristine tile. Conversation slowed, then stilled. Eyes glanced up, down, away. A mother tightened her grip on her child's wrist. An old man slid his wallet off the table and into his coat pocket without a word. Eli walked like someone used to being watched, and used to surviving it. He sat at the counter, eyes scanning exits. Old habits. "Just passing through," he murmured, low, to no one in particular. Rachel Miller, 23, server, and trying hard not to be noticed, recognized the tension before she heard a word. She'd seen him before, or someone like him. That posture, those eyes. Her brother Jameson had it too, now that he was training at the academy. But this was different. Older, hardened. Before she could step forward, movement in the corner caught her eye. Officers Barnes and Kyle, weekly regulars, were already watching. Barnes lifted his coffee. Kyle cracked a smirk. They didn't need to speak. Their presence said enough. Rachel approached. "Can I get you something, sir?" Eli nodded once. "Coffee. Black. And whatever the special is, if it's not too much trouble, ma'am." Ma'am. Not honey. Not sweetheart. Just respect. Rachel smiled despite herself. "Meatloaf with mashed potatoes and green beans," she said. "That sounds perfect. Thank you." At the corner booth, Kyle let out a loud laugh. "Dumpster diving doesn't count as dining out, huh?" Barnes chuckled along. "Better keep the silverware count, Rachel, and check the bathroom after. These bums always shoot up once they're warm." Eli didn't move, didn't flinch, just held his cup between two steady hands. Rachel flushed, but said nothing. Years of customer service had taught her to absorb cruelty and keep moving. "Order's coming right up," she said softly. Kyle sauntered over, dragging the atmosphere with him. He dropped into the stool beside Eli, uninvited. Barnes followed, boxing Eli in. "How's your brother doing, Rachel?" Kyle asked. "Still top of his class?" "He's doing great," she said cautiously. "Good. We need officers who know how to clean up towns like this." He turned, eyes locked on Eli. "You know what that means. Keeping the streets safe from panhandlers, junkies, and fake vets trying to work the system." Barnes leaned in. "Bet this guy's never seen a day of combat." Rachel returned with Eli's plate, her hands shaking slightly. "Here you go," she whispered. Kyle snatched a sugar packet and tossed it on Eli's food. "Earn your keep. Dance for your dinner. That's how it works, right?" Eli set down his cup, slow and deliberate. He picked up the packet and turned, placing it gently back on Kyle's side of the counter. "I earned my dignity in Kandahar," he said, voice quiet. "Don't need to earn it again from you." Barnes's hand hovered near his holster. "You threatening an officer?" "No, sir," Eli replied evenly. "Just having dinner." "You need to leave," Kyle barked. "I paid. I intend to eat." "Refusing a lawful order?" Barnes stepped forward. Rachel tried. "He's not causing trouble." "Stay out of it," Barnes snapped. "Your brother wouldn't like that." Rachel stepped back, one hand quietly slipping her phone from her apron pocket. Kyle grabbed Eli's shoulder. "On your feet." Eli didn't resist. He only said one thing, calm, clear, to Rachel. "If something happens to me, call General Whitaker, at the Pentagon. Tell him Eli Turner is in trouble." Snow had begun to pile up against the diner's door by the time Rachel slipped into the employee bathroom, her hands still shaking. Her phone was cold in her palm, the screen bright with one number she couldn't believe she'd typed. The Pentagon. She stared at it. Eli Turner's words echoed in her mind. "Call General Whitaker. Tell him Eli Turner is in trouble." The way he'd said it. Not desperate, not performative, like someone who'd given an order before and expected it to be followed. She pressed the call button. It rang once, twice, 3 times. A crisp female voice answered. "Department of Defense. How may I direct your call?" Rachel's voice caught in her throat. I need to speak with General Whitaker. It's about Eli Turner." A pause. 1 beat longer than normal. Then, "Please hold." Rachel expected a transfer to some obscure voicemail. Maybe a receptionist. Instead, the tone changed. Lines clicked. A voice came on the line, deeper, older, and sharper than any she'd heard. "This is General Harold Whitaker. Who am I speaking with?" "My name is Rachel Miller," she whispered. "I work at a diner in Riverbrook. Eli Turner was just arrested. 2 officers dragged him out after harassing him. He told me to call you." Another pause, this one colder. Then, an edge sharpened the general's tone. "Tell me everything." Thousands of miles away, General Whitaker stood from behind his oak desk, his mind no longer in Washington. The snow falling outside his office window blurred into the dust of Kandahar, 2003. They'd been ambushed on a routine patrol, boxed in with nowhere to run. RPGs struck the lead and rear vehicles. Gunfire rained from rooftops. Smoke filled every breath. Whitaker, then a colonel, had been pinned beneath a burning Humvee, his leg crushed, his men scattered. He'd given the order to fall back. Leave him. Survive. Only one refused. Staff Sergeant Elijah Turner. "Not today, sir," Eli had said, blood running down his temple, eyes steady even as bullets tore the ground around him. "Not ever." Under fire, Eli had pulled Whitaker free, then gone back, twice, to rescue 3 more wounded soldiers before air support arrived. Whitaker never forgot. Never would. And now, Eli Turner, decorated war hero, Silver Star recipient, the man who saved his life, had been dragged from a diner by cops who thought he was just another nobody. Back on the call, Rachel finished her account. General Whitaker's voice was low, but absolute. "You did the right thing, Miss Miller. I want that video. I'll have my aide send you a secure number to transmit it. Then I want you to go home and say nothing. No news, no social media. Do you understand?" "Yes, sir," she said, relieved and terrified all at once. "But what about Eli?" Whitaker's voice softened only slightly. "He's one of the finest soldiers I've ever known. I take care of my people." As the line disconnected, Rachel slumped against the bathroom wall, her hands still trembling. Her eyes burned with the weight of what she'd just done. She didn't know what would come next, but she knew she wasn't alone in this anymore. At that very moment, General Whitaker was already on a second line. "This is General Whitaker. Authorization code Sierra Echo 94 Alpha. I need immediate intervention at the Riverbrook Police Department. One of our decorated veterans has been detained under questionable circumstances. I want Defense Internal Affairs on site within the hour." He made 5 more calls. Department of Justice, Veterans Affairs, the Secretary of Defense. Everyone began the same way. "It's about Eli Turner." And with that, the tide began to turn. Rachel never expected the fallout to be so fast, so vicious. Within 48 hours of Eli's arrest, her name appeared on a local law enforcement message board, labeled "Hostile to Officers." The next morning, her boss at the Red Rail called her in. The official story? Too many absences. The truth was, in the silence that followed, his eyes didn't meet hers, His voice didn't shake. He'd been warned. That night, someone threw a brick through her apartment window. Taped to it was a note. Cop lovers die. Cop haters die faster. She didn't cry. She boarded it up. Eli helped, working the hammer in methodical silence. When she apologized for dragging him into her mess, he only said, "They hit truth first. Always. But they lose later." 2 states away, Ava Washington stood in her D.C. office, staring at a video of Eli Turner being dragged from a diner. Her godfather's voice had carried weight before. General Whitaker wasn't the kind of man who made idle requests. But the moment she saw Eli's eyes, calm even under abuse, she knew this wasn't just another case. It was a line in the sand. By the time she arrived in Riverbrook, she already had her legal team on alert. But the motel room she checked into that evening was ransacked while she was out. Drawer contents scattered. Laptop gone. Window unlatched. It was a message, not a robbery. "They're not just afraid of exposure," she told Eli when he arrived to inspect the damage. "They're preparing for war." Eli said nothing, but his jaw tightened. 2 nights later, Rachel's younger brother, Jameson, showed up unannounced. He wore his police academy uniform like armor, but his face betrayed him. Young, pale, rattled. "They know who you are," he told Ava. "They've seen the footage. Brick says you're poking around where you don't belong." Ava crossed her arms. "And what does Brick tell you cadets when no one's recording?" Jameson hesitated, then sat down. 3 years ago, Barnes beat a homeless man outside a convenience store. Said the guy attacked him, but the store owner's statement didn't match. The report got buried, no disciplinary action, and now they use it as a training story, a lesson. "A lesson?" Rachel asked, stunned. Jameson nodded, shame coloring his voice. "Captain Brick calls it real education. How to write reports that protect the department. How to neutralize public threats without backlash." "Public threats like my brother," Rachel snapped. Jameson looked at her, voice low. "They keep files. On you. On Avenue. On everyone who's speaking out." His eyes flicked to Ava. "They're not just corrupt. They're organized." The next morning, Ava began digging. Public records, formal complaints, court dismissals, everything smelled of rot. Complaints against Barnes and Kyle? Dozens, all mysteriously withdrawn. Multiple unhoused men arrested, then disappeared. No follow-up, no legal trails. She pulled the files together and looked at Eli. "This isn't a few bad actors. It's a coordinated program." Eli didn't flinch. "Then we treat it like one." "What do you mean?" "I mean," he said slowly, "we build a case like we're going to war. Evidence. Witnesses. Proof they can't erase." And just like that, a new front opened. Not just one veteran's fight for dignity, but a legal campaign against a hidden machine. The name whispered on the street was Shieldman. No badges, no paperwork, just orders. Ava's war had begun. 3 days after Rachel's video went online, it had crossed 1 million views. A homeless veteran, harassed by police. A waitress who risked everything to help. A town that looked away, until the internet forced them to look again. Local media picked it up, then state outlets. Then a national morning show aired a short segment, flashing Eli Turner's mugshot beside footage of him in uniform, younger, prouder, and holding a folded flag. Rachel read the comments until her eyes ached. Some were cruel, most were furious. "This is America? How many others? Where's the justice for our vets?" The response was massive, but the pushback came fast. Rachel's phone wouldn't stop ringing. Blocked calls, hang-ups, threats. Her apartment door was spray-painted. Traitor. Ava began switching motels every 2 nights. Officers in unmarked cruisers idled near her temporary offices. And Eli, always watching, always quiet, finally made a move. He stood outside a payphone on the edge of town. The landline still worked. Old habits. He dialed a number from memory, a sequence he hadn't used in nearly a decade. "The Eagle needs new talents," he said when the line picked up. There was silence. Then a laugh. "Tare? That really you?" I need your help, Q. It's happening again. Different battlefield. Hours later, a matte black van rolled into Riverbrook. Painted on the side, Q's Tech Haven. We fix what others can't. Out rolled Quincy Q Morales, former comms tech from Eli's squad. Paralyzed from the waist down after an IED strike in 2006, Q now ran a cybersecurity business and an unofficial vet support network. With him came 3 others: Trace Hamilton, ex-military police, counterintelligence expert; Jordan Link Peterson, cybersecurity genius with NSA history; Marcus Ghost Wilson, digital forensics specialist and shadow operations wizard. They weren't just hackers, they were insurgents in a data war. Within hours, Q's team turned Ava's borrowed office into a full-blown command center. Monitors lined the walls. Police band radios buzzed quietly. Encrypted phones replaced everyone's personal devices. The shield men are connected, Q explained. We're going to map it, track it, break it. Rachel watched in awe as the team went to work. Ghost tapped into traffic cameras. Link scrubbed online records. Trace flagged suspicious financial activity. We follow 3 lines, Q said. People, money, power. While they mapped the machine, Rachel found her purpose too. She filmed interviews with other vets on the street, men and women with stories like Eli's. She edited the clips late into the night, splicing them with archive footage from their deployments, shots of medals, family photos, then the aftermath, shelters, cuffs, bruises. She titled it, From Hero to Disposable. It exploded online. Veterans organizations reposted it. Civil rights leaders called Ava's office. Even a U.S. senator tweeted it with the caption, "This can't stand." Eli watched from the corner, silent as ever. But when another wave of threats came in, and Rachel's footage started getting flagged and removed, he finally stood up. "They're scared," he said quietly. Ava nodded. "Good. That means they know what's coming." "No," Eli replied. "That means they'll get reckless." And he was right. In the shadows of Riverbrook, the shieldmen began to move differently, more aggressive, less careful. But this time, they weren't the only ones watching. Because now, Eli Turner wasn't alone. He had a team. And a war plan. Rachel never made it to the sandwich shop. The cruiser rolled up fast. Kyle stepped out with a smirk, badge on his chest, venom in his voice. Barnes flanked him like always. They barely spoke. Just grabbed her, shoved her into the back seat, and drove. The street was full of people, but no one moved. They didn't take her to the station. They drove her out past the city line to a rusted warehouse near the old train yard, a place that didn't exist on any official map. Eli was already tracking them. Q's surveillance system had eyes on every corner of Riverbrook. Traffic cams, wireless pings, a hacked drone above the industrial district. "She's in the outbuilding," Ghost confirmed. 2 signatures inside. "Let's bring her home," Eli said. His team moved in formation. 4 veterans, no guns, just precision. They breached from the back. Inside, they found Rachel tied to a chair, bruised but defiant. A recorder hidden in her boot still ran. Barnes never saw the strike coming. Eli dropped him with a single movement, disarmed, unconscious, uninjured, just like Eli planned. Within 15 minutes, Rachel was back in the safe house. Her footage was uploaded, her audio files encrypted, and her voice, shaking but clear, told the truth. They said no one would believe a junkie or a war freak. They said they bury people like that. Ava reviewed the audio with clinical focus. "This is the kill shot," she said. "Combined with Jameson's testimony and everything else we've built, we've got them." Rachel's next video dropped that night. It opened with her bruised face. Her voiceover cut through clips of police abuse, wiretap recordings, and body cam footage that Q's team had recovered from a hidden Shieldman server. It named names. It showed faces. It told the world exactly what Riverbrook had tried to hide. By sunrise, "Justice for Eli" was the top trending phrase in the country. National outlets ran the story non-stop. Civil rights groups descended. Ava received confirmation from Washington. The Department of Justice had launched a federal investigation into Riverbrook PD and the Shieldman network. But even as victory bloomed, danger followed. Officer Barnes, suspended and ready to flip, was found dead behind the police station. Overdose, the report claimed. But his wire was missing. His body showed signs of a staged fall. "They're tying off loose ends," Eli told Ava, "and Brick's next." The captain had vanished. No trace, no statements, no accountability. But Q found him. A surveillance drone picked up Brick at a private airfield, duffel bag in hand, headed toward a Falcon Corps registered jet. "We've got 3 hours," Ava said, "and if he leaves, he takes the truth with him." Eli looked at his team. The same warriors who once carried him across burning sand. The same faces he trusted when everything else failed. "We stop him," he said. "No violence, no mistakes. We end it right." As Rachel finished uploading the final drop, leaked Shieldman training videos, internal memos, payout records, Ava prepped the legal arsenal. Charges, testimony coordination, federal witness protection. Brick wasn't just another bad cop, he was the root. And as the plane's engines warmed up under cover of darkness, Eli Turner and his squad moved into position. Not to fight, to finish the mission. Brick moved fast, but not fast enough. Eli's squad surrounded the airstrip before his boots touched the runway. Wrench's drones tracked every move. Link jammed outbound signals. Ghost monitored the Falcon Corps charter manifest and confirmed the jet's co-pilot was ex-private security. Shieldmen aligned. As Brick reached the ladder, Eli stepped into the glow of the landing lights. "This is the end of the road," he said simply. Brick froze. "You can't stop this." "We already did." Within minutes, DOJ agents pulled onto the tarmac, sirens cutting through dawn. Brick tried to run. He didn't make it 10 steps. At Riverbrook's community center, Ava stood at the podium, framed by journalists, live stream equipment, and a room overflowing with residents, veterans, activists, and truth-hungry Americans. She didn't start with allegations. She started with names. David West, Thomas Raines, Diane Miller, Elijah Turner. Faces flickered across the screens behind her, people who were targeted, erased, or nearly forgotten. This isn't about one town. It's about the price we pay when silence becomes policy. One by one, witnesses spoke. Rachel told her story, voice steady. Jameson confessed, voice cracking. Elderly veterans gave testimony about being dumped outside county lines in winter, their medications confiscated. Ava outlined the Shieldmen's internal memos, showed bank transfers from Falcon Corps, played Brick's training recordings. "We clean house. We make space for progress." The final feed came from Q, broadcast from a secure location. The hacked internal files streamed live. Payout logs, cover-up protocols, target lists. The crowd didn't just watch. They wept. They shouted. They stood. A community that once flinched at the truth now rose to hold it. When it was Eli's turn, he didn't read from paper. He didn't speak loud. He just stood tall. "My name is Elijah Turner," he said. "I fought for this country. 3 tours, 2 Purple Hearts, a Silver Star. I buried brothers in foreign deserts and carried others out alive." He paused. "And when I came home, I became invisible." He turned to the crowd. "Not because I changed, but because what I represented made some people uncomfortable. A reminder of sacrifice, of promises not kept." He looked directly into the cameras. "But we're not invisible anymore. Not me. Not the people on your sidewalks. Not the ones under your bridges or sitting quietly in your diners. We are the living cost of your peace." He held up his dog tags, now burnished with age and snow-scuffed memory. "You don't earn freedom once. You fight for it. At home, for each other." The room stood still. Then the applause came. Raw, righteous, relentless. By nightfall, DOJ had arrested half the Riverbrook PD command. Shieldman cells in other towns began crumbling. National outlets ran Eli's speech in full. Civil rights lawyers from across the country flooded Ava's inbox. Falcon Corps stocks tanked. And Eli? He didn't stay for the cameras. He walked Rachel to her car, hugged Q, told Ava to keep fighting. Then he left the town he'd saved, boots crunching quietly on the same snow where it all began. No longer invisible, now unforgettable.